Hello, and welcome to Lit by Moonlight, where it's not a phase to go on an eat, pray, love journey when you're supposed to be on tour.
It happens to the best of us. In episode 7 and 8 of Daisy Jones and the Six, we open with Simone arriving in New York to stay with her new partner Bernie, a DJ who is dominating the New York disco scene. Together, the two are working to jumpstart her career, with Simone sometimes performing at 3 clubs a night. Just as things start to take off and it looks like a record deal is in the works for Simone, she receives a telegram from Daisy that suggests that she is in trouble. Simone and Bernie travel to Greece to check in on Daisy, who has married an alleged prince, Nicky, and is hell-bent on not returning to the Six. When Nicky suggests that Simone is in love with Daisy, Daisy accuses Simone of this, and Simone responds by leaving Greece with Bernie, hurt by Daisy's wild accusations.
I know it's like alleged that Nicky's a prince, like he might not actually be a prince, but just consider for a moment what kind of a name for a prince is Nicky. Like the Honorable Queen Elizabeth and her fifth son, Prince Nicky.
I'm honestly
no.
just glad I didn't say Prince Nikolai, since I am amidst watching Shadow and Bone right now. So I was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking to myself, I don't think I know any prince with the name Nick. I guess like Nicholas would be okay, but it's giving Hallmark movie fake prince. You know what I'm saying?
Why is it always Nicky too? It's like,
yeah, I don't know.
It's like just like average enough of a name, but like a little, like with a little something.
little something. It's like you want it to be known that he's a fun guy. You're like, oh, yeah. He's a fun guy. He's not Nicholas. He's not a Nick. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
He likes to be called pet names as like his real name. He doesn't take himself too seriously.
It's giving.
What did he say he was? He's a student of life.
Oh, right. It's given Meredith Blake calling Nick Parker Nicky in The Parent Trap, 1998.
Oh, Nicky! Wow. Best movie of all
Great
time.
Movie.
So when Daisy finally returns to California with her new husband in tow, the band comes back together to rehearse for their upcoming tour. Billy and Daisy continue to feud over their desire for each other, the Rolling Stones article, and the tour itself. Billy has begun to notice Daisy's increasing use of cocaine. At the end of the episode, Billy finds Daisy unconscious as Nicky abandons her. She wakes up just as the episode ends.
What a guy.
I don't even know what guy you're talking about, because they're all kind of ridiculous.
they're all just some guy, and they all kind of
guy? Suck. Yeah. Excluding Daisy, because I think she just truly is kind of going through it. Yeah. Like Billy and Nicky.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize that if the guy ends his name with like E, might not want to trust him. Seems like he might not be the best person.
True.
Yeah, we're here. Who are you?
Oh, hi, I'm Caitlin, and they're not kidding when they say that limiting your screen time can be good for you.
So true, because before we started this episode, I had like a full-on mental breakdown over the fact that my laptop wouldn't connect to my desktop. I like really thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And I do think that it has everything to do with the fact that like actual cyberbullying comes from the AI technology itself. Yeah, it comes from the tech itself. It's like, oh, sorry, did you want to have a nice day? Well, what if I like gave you 8 pop-up notifications at once, all at the same time for no reason? I hate when, the thing that really like traumatizes me is like when you like do something wrong, you hit the wrong key on your keyboard and it makes that sound on Windows it's like a it like tries to be more pleasant, but it just makes you more annoyed. It's like it's mocking you.
You made a mistake. That's not the button. And meanwhile, other computers are like, you suck.
It's like the AirPods like sound when it's dying. That really like that sends me into like a neuron I'm about to like bulldoze somebody. Like it's chaotic. Yeah. But in other more positive news, I'm in Berlin. That's the positive news. And I am about to be in the presence of Ms. Taylor Allison Swift for 3+ hours. And it's going to ruin me. Like, I'm not going to be the same person afterward. I'm going to be really annoying. I may be kicked off the show for just, like, talking only about Taylor Swift.
We can have, like, a whole concert breakdown episode if you absolutely need it.
Oh, I feel like the Swifties would love that. I would love that.
I just want to hear about it, so I'm excited for you. And also the fact that it's 3 hours long. That's incredible.
44 songs.
Good for wow.
I really want to just like applaud this woman for somehow putting on one of the best shows in history and breaking a lot of records with this world tour. Mm-hmm. I'm like really excited to go see it. So like, thanks Taylor for everything. Speaking of concerts and best-selling albums, or allegedly, I guess in this case, what was your hook for these few episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six, Caitlin? We're talking about episode 7 and episode 8.
Daisy Jones and the 6, 7, 8. Okay. I really liked seeing Simone's story and her beginnings to her career as a disco pioneer. I thought that was really cool. Since, like, she's in the book, but, like, only kind of dispersed throughout, and you don't really get too much about her career because obviously, like, the story isn't about her per se, but she is there and she was a part of everything. So to be able to like get more insight into her life and like just how she was making it in New York and everything, I thought that was really cool to like see where she started. And like it honestly just seems like such a fun career to have. So I was just like, I was sitting there, I was watching it, I was like, I want to watch this. This is great. This seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah. There were times when I found Simone's storyline almost more interesting than I have the actual plot of Daisy Jones and the Six in the show.
Yeah.
Like, I think the 70s disco scene is really interesting. I think it'd be cool to see. I mean, like, I say this knowing that someone will mess it up, but it would be cool to see show creators tap more into that scene. Because it's like a very beautiful, fun space for queer people when we didn't really have to like hide who we were as much as we did across the city in the 70s. And it was just really nice to see her connection with Bernie and her kind of slowly becoming more comfortable with herself and her art.
Yeah.
And at the same time, slowly being propelled to fame. So that was like really interesting. That was my hook as well. I really wish we spent more time with Simone.
Yeah, me too.
Almost like, and I'm hoping there's a book in this universe for Simone maybe in the future, that if Taylor Jenkins Reid is interested in maybe expanding her story a little more, I think it'd be really cool to read about her.
Yeah.
Which, you know, wouldn't be far off from things that she's already done, because there are a lot of books that exist in this McRiva universe. So
what's it called?
I feel like that'd be really cool. So it's McRiva. So like,
okay.
So in Malibu Rising, there's a character named McRiva, and then that same character appears in other books from
that's cool.
her series, and then you kind of notice like there'll be names mentioned in each of her books that are names from other books. So that's how you kind of confirm that everything kind of exists in the same universe, even if they're not all directly connected to each other.
That's kind of cool. I like it when that happens with authors in their books, when it's like I mean, like obviously you can see it in fantasy series, but for like books that like take place in the real world and just the author just decides, actually, yeah, these are all the same world. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. It is really, really cool. I feel like it adds like a little, it like almost makes it seem more real, because it's like, oh yeah, I remember reading about them.
I know,
you know?
Yeah.
So once again, TJR does this great job of creating this like little world of her own where everybody kind of exists, and yeah, I love it.
Side note, that makes me think of it. So I read The House in the Cerulean Sea, and then I also read Under the Whispering Door, both by T.J. Klune. And in Whispering Door, there's like a mention of like a painting of a house in a surrounded by a cerulean sea, and I was like, I know that. I know what that's about.
Oh, that literally gives me chills.
Yeah, I just really like it when like it's not like it's a big huge important plot piece, but it's just like a little nod. So like if you know, you know, but like you don't need to know a whole story to appreciate something. Yes. So I was just like, ooh, that's fun. McRiva universe.
Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So did you have any favorite quotes from these two episodes?
Yeah, I like when Bernie tells Simone that she loves her, but then later on, Bernie and Simone are, I don't remember if they're like slow dancing or something, and Simone's like, hey, I love you too, and Bernie's like, no shit. And it's just so cute. I love them. They're so interesting to me. It's so nice to see a healthy relationship in this series where both parties are like nice to each other and interested in each other. It's like, wow, not everything is terrible. Like, people are capable of loving each other in a healthy and proper way.
I mean, there's hope in this.
Yeah, there is indeed hope.
Yeah, that was really cute. I just loved like the no shit, because I loved also that like when Bernie told Simone that she loved her, she's like, you don't have to say it back, but just know, like, I just want you to know that I love you.
So cute. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know why I like this so much, but while they're on tour, Daisy gets hurt, and then Billy takes her off stage, and I want to be clear, like, she's obviously very, very, like, really struggling here, and that's very sad to watch. But I like the piece where he takes her off stage, and she says, "I'll let you know when I'm done," and then she starts singing Honeycomb, which they have been saying all tour,
right?
Which is kind of her way of, even though she's really struggling, trying to take back some power from him and this like really domineering attitude he has, and like this need he has to control everything at these shows. Mm-hmm. So when that happened, I was just like, ooh, whoa, get her, get him. Yeah. So those were mine. How about you?
I have a couple. One that stuck out to me was when Simone said to Bernie about Daisy, she doesn't have anyone else, because she gets this telegram from Daisy, and Bernie's like, but you're about to go on tour, and like, I don't know if it was a tour, but she was about to get some like really good like gigs basically, and Simone literally drops everything for Daisy because she knows she's the only one that could help Daisy, and to go all the way to Greece only for Daisy to be just chilling there, like to get married. I would be so much less chill than Simone was in that moment, because she was just like you could tell that she was kind of like, haha, what, like, you're good, like, I'm glad you're good, but and then
you inconvenienced me in the process.
Like if you were like sent me a telegram and then I flew out to Greece and I was like, oh my god, she's in trouble, I have to help her. I mean, I would be relieved that it's like, oh, you're just getting married, like, cool, but also I'd be like, girl,
maybe communicate more.
Yeah, but I just really like that because I feel like it just shows like how much Simone cares for her, for her friend and everything. So I thought that was really, like, even though it's like, oh my god, Daisy, chill, it's also like, wow, like, what a good friend. And also I really liked when Simone told Daisy, I love you, Daisy, so I'll tell you the truth, you're a real selfish bitch. And I was like, get her.
She needed to hear that. That was one of my favorites too. Like I think that whole little, like, everything she said to Daisy, that was like, oh, that really stuck with me. I was literally, it was St. Patrick's Day, so I was like too drunk to type it, but I love that part.
I just like, sometimes the hard truth is what people need to hear, and Daisy really needed to hear that in that moment.
So true. I'm curious to hear what your peaks and valleys were for this, because when we talked before this episode, we both kind of realized that we already don't remember a lot of what happened, even though we just watched it on Friday. Yeah. So I'd be really curious to hear first what you liked about this show.
I don't know if this is a peak, but I actually low-key felt bad for Eddie in this episode, because there was a moment where it's like they're at the hotel or wherever they were, and
they're at a party.
Yeah, and Camila goes out onto like the balcony, and Eddie is there, and there's a moment that they have together, and he's just like, hey, and he clearly like is remembering the fact that they hooked up apparently a couple episodes ago, and she basically tells him, I was sad and you were there and you listened, and it's never gonna happen again, okay, bye. And I just felt bad for him because like he clearly like really cares for her, and like the fact that she's married aside, just like to like be told by someone like, that just happened because you happen to be in my vicinity and I was at a low point, but it's not gonna happen again, and then just to walk away, I would be heartbroken. I'd be like, oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. So like I low-key felt bad for him, not enough for me to be like, poor Eddie, he doesn't deserve it, because like he's not my favorite character, and also she's married, so there's that. But in the moment I was like, that sucks.
For me, it was when they're at the party in Greece, And she's being introduced to like all these artists, like the guy that makes things out of golden leaves and like the poet. And like I just wanted them to keep going. Like, this is Donatello and he likes to play the glass flute on a stack of tires, and this is Mickey and he wears a wig of cooked pasta, and this is Eloise and she speaks French into her own butt. Like, just keep going. I want more weird students of life, so to speak. Yeah. Like, give me more weird guys. That was like funny. I want more. Can I have a couple more of these pretentious fucks, please? Like, please. Yeah. So I really liked that scene. It made me laugh. Like, and I think it made me laugh so much because in my head I was like doing a bit already about like how it would continue. But yeah, just ridiculous. It's like, it reminds me so much of like when you go to like a party that's like with your friends' friends, and everybody there is like so completely different from you. And you're just like, oh my God, who the fuck are these people? Like, so really thought that was funny. Not even a positive thing about the show. Just like I had fun. What about you? What was your second peak?
Speaking of positive things that aren't necessarily about the show, I feel so bad because like maybe these deserved a little bit more of my attention, but it just wasn't there. There's just something about this show that isn't like grabbing me, and maybe it's because there's a lot of things that are on right now, or that I am kind of actively watching that just I care more about, or that are just more interesting to me. And I don't know, it's just something about this adaptation that's just not really like, I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah. Good try. I kind of do wish, I think I'm kind of contradicting myself, because I think earlier I said I like that they're doing this weekly so that like I can keep coming back to it, but at this point I kind of wish they just dropped it all in one go so that I could binge it, because I feel like I would be more in it if I could binge it, you know? Yeah. But
I agree. I think this is a binging show. Yeah.
Yeah. So my second peak was the fact that my power went out at the beginning of episode 8, and it felt like a sign.
Oh no. Turn it off.
Literally, I was sitting there. I was like, all right, one more episode. We can do this. And then and this was like Friday morning, and I was just like, this isn't really the show I want to be watching. And then I started episode 8, and the power's like, meow. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's that.
I guess I'm done now.
I guess I'm just done.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, because I definitely feel like it's hard to be, like, I guess part of me is I'm glad we're talking about this. I'm glad we're reviewing the show, because it would be stupid if we just, like, only watched shows that we liked and talked about them.
Right.
Like, sometimes I want to be a hater.
I love being a hater. It's so fun.
But also, like, I don't know. I feel like there's something missing, and we've talked about this a lot, but I feel like there's an authenticity that's missing, for me at least, from the show, like in terms of just the way it's filmed, the way that people talk, like some of the acting, that it's just like really pulling me out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's hard because it's like you're bringing something to screen that is very similar to something that exists already, and that's Fleetwood Mac. And it's really hard not to compare them. And then on top of that, you're adapting something from a book, and it's just, I think it's one of those circumstances where maybe the book is doing a better job of telling the story, even though it reads like a documentary, than an actual show mimicking a documentary ever could. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like my expectations for adaptions at this point are so high because of like sorry if I said this already, and I know it's a completely different ball game, but like The Last of Us really just set the bar high for everything that I watch now.
Yeah.
And because like that was so well done, and now I'm watching this and I'm like, it's fine. And then there's another show that I'm watching where I'm like, okay, could this have gone differently? Like, are we really paying attention to what we're adapting here? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I just have higher expectations now, and for this, it's just like I agree with you. Like, the book read so much like a actual documentary, and this just feels like I'm watching a show. And then when they cut to the interviews of them like years later, I'm like, what? Huh? Like, what's going on? Especially, again, I can't get over the fact that it's like they didn't even try to make them look older. I mean, like, they
Yeah.
did, but, like, in a really cheap way. Like,
Yeah.
I will be the #1 Karen wig hater on this website. I don't care. I hate it. I think it looks so stupid. Suki Waterhouse is a beautiful woman, and you guys are doing her dirty with that wig. I don't get it. It looks like she's wearing a wig. Because she is. And then Graham, I don't know. It's like he has such a baby face already, and then they just decided to add some gray hairs and like kind of muss him up a bit, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. I think with what's his name, Warren, they didn't even try. He's just like, yeah, here he is. And then Billy's looking like the Winter Soldier. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a documentary to me. It just is like I feel like maybe they should have picked, like, do we do the documentary or do we just tell a story? Because I feel like maybe if they just told a story, it would hit a bit different. I don't know.
That's a great point.
It just
I
takes
agree
me
with
out.
that.
Yeah.
Choose one. Don't try to do it all. I completely agree with that.
Or if you're gonna do it, make them look better. Or, like, I don't know, cast people who look older, who look the age they're supposed to be. Oh my
god, yeah.
You know?
Again, another prime opportunity to pop Lindsey Buckingham in there for no good reason.
Anything to get him in there, you know?
Oh my god, it's so unfortunate.
What was
I was like, oh, go ahead.
No.
Yeah. Oh my god, I have to talk about this still. I'm so sorry. I'm like ready. I'm ready to move on to our valleys. You can tell that we both like completely tuned out. But
yeah,
I'd say the soundtrack for this show remains very good, almost so good that I'm surprised by how everything else has been executed. Like, they played Boston this last couple episodes. Boston, what the heck?
What the heck?
Such a good band. And then in terms of the show soundtrack, like Aurora, the album, it's funny, I was thinking about this, but like the best song on this album is truly The River. Because they play it on tour a couple times, you know, and
is that the one?
If I follow you to the river, yeah, it's probably good because it's a direct ripoff of The Chain and Silver Springs.
I was gonna say, because I don't have my notebook that I took notes in at the moment, but I literally wrote when she kept saying like
in the shadow.
Yes, that's what it was. I was like taken out every time. And I was just like, wait a second.
Literally a lyric from like...
What's all this then?
Yeah.
In the shadow. It's not The Chain.
It's not. But wait, what is it? Because in the shadow. You know what that's from? Is that from... Isn't that girl? Is that Gold Dust Woman?
That's what it...
Where she says, in the shadow. Yeah. Pale shadow of a woman. God darn it. Okay, all right. Y'all just copied and pasted, and then like you know those you sometimes go into restaurants or like you'll see them on fridges someplace, the little poetry magnets with different words on them, and you can just kind of like place them. That's what they did. Like. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, in the shadow. Yeah. Every time she said "in the shadow," I was just like, okay, are we even trying right now?
Yeah. Not no.
No.
No. Because I kept hearing that and I was like, this is kind of good. And like Riley Keough's voice in this particular song is like really good. Like it's all 100%. Great.
She's great.
But it's also a direct, like a mirror image of that song.
This is not The Chain.
But this is, and then part of me is like, why am I complaining? I guess that's what I wanted. But then the other part of me is like, but do I? Like,
but it takes you out because you're like, oh my god, this sounds like Fleetwood Mac, and like that's the point. But also, it's like, could you at least try to be a little more original? That's why, like, even throughout the book, even though I kept going, oh man, I really want to go home and listen to this album, but I can't because it isn't real. So what I did instead was just like go on a whole Fleetwood Mac binge, and with this, it's like I'm now having, like, I was excited to finally hear the music of this show, and now it's getting to the point where I'm like, I don't want to hear it anymore because like as you put it, it sounds like Diet Fleetwood Mac, and at this point I'm like, I just rather have the real thing than someone trying to do their best interpretation of a Fleetwood Mac song. Yeah.
I find myself, so when they first released Regret Me, I had to go look up the lyrics and just read them over and over again to understand what was being said, for example. Because I just felt like they went ahead and they probably took the lyrics from the book. I'm assuming that's what they did. And then, like, tried to put them, and which is crazy, too, because, like, the people that are behind this, the people that helped with the composition, guess who? Marcus Mumford from Mumford and Sons.
No, really?
I'm like, what? Like, huh? Marcus Mumford. Anyway, but let me just for example, in Regret Me, you regret me and I'll regret you. I find it perfectly natural here in my car if you do, off the PCH highway with this typical wonderful view. Go ahead and regret me, but I'm beating it to you. I don't get that. I don't want to bitch too hard because the Beatles say some senseless shit in their albums, and I have probably praised them. But like, I had a really hard time with that. Like, I kept coming back to it. When I was seeing ads for it on Amazon, I'd read the comments, and the comments would all be like, what the fuck are these lyrics? Because
you know what
everybody's on the same page.
What takes me out is when they say, but I'm beating you to it, dude. Like,
yeah,
it's giving 12-year-old, like, writing lyrics in her diary.
Yeah, and I feel like dude isn't something that people really, I don't know, maybe people said dude in the 70s. I feel like people say dude in the 90s.
I mean, I say dude now, but, like, not in the song.
Yeah, and also, I guess that's what I'm saying, like, I feel like it didn't become a popular thing to say dude until much later.
Like,
so I think it's, like, it just that is weird to me, also.
It just seems like they're not good lyrics.
Yeah.
Like,
it stresses me out.
I'm the slippage in the system, and I'm perfectly ready to strike, so go ahead and regret me, but I'm not easing up on this mic.
Yeah, I got confused by that, too. I've kind of lost track of the original plot of the movie. And I really recommend this. Like, if you are just chilling and you feel like having a really interesting time, go and look up all of the lyrics for these songs, and you will just be so confused afterward. Like, and that's not to say that the 70s wasn't full of people writing catchy lyrics that didn't really make sense. Like, there are so many, like, great songs, catchy songs, that where the lyrics don't necessarily make sense. But this was just, like, this really, I think, in listening to this now and having these songs not have the same, like, cultural significance and historical significance that like, a Fleetwood Mac song or, like, a David Bowie song would have, where the lyrics are kind of, like, kitschy and confusing, made it difficult for me to stay present and connected to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Such deep meaning.
Yeah, I guess. And then it makes it even funnier because now in every scene, and I feel so bad saying this, but in every scene where Daisy is like, I'm writing a song, and she's like writing a little notebook, I'm going to be laughing now because I'm going to be thinking about everything. Yeah. It's like,
sure. Good try. You know, it's like giving, like, when a YouTuber's just like, I'm gonna write songs now. Like, it's like, it's giving Gabby Hanna, you know?
It is giving Gabby Hanna a little bit, yeah. It's that book she wrote, oh my god, what's that book? Is it Adolescent?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
But it's like,
maybe I'm the monster.
Maybe I'm the monster! Yeah, gosh. All right, great. So everything's going well over here.
Yeah.
We're loving the show. And I also feel like this is a good time for me to interject because people could be like, hey, I like this show. That if you like this show, that's okay. You're welcome to like this show. I'm enjoying the show. I think we're just enjoying it in different ways. And that's okay.
Sometimes you watch bad shows for funsies. Because you need a breather after, like, all of the serious shows that you have to actually think about. Where this one, I just get to watch it every Friday and go, all right.
Okay.
Next.
And guess what? It all ends next Friday, so it's almost over. So what was your, I feel like we already have gone there, but what was your valley for this episode?
All right.
Valleys, even, if you had multiple.
I mean, yeah, okay. So, this might be a dumb question. So, if you know, please tell me. If anybody who listens on YouTube, please tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely asking because I don't know enough about this. And it's showing my lack of knowledge on how to handle an overdose. But why didn't Billy try CPR on Daisy when she wasn't breathing? And instead sat there and held her while yelling, "She isn't breathing!" as she lay unconscious in his arms, and he just kind of stared at her and talked to her. It didn't try at all. It didn't do anything. Just picked her up and held her and yelled, "She isn't breathing."
Oh, that's a really good point.
I could Google this, but I don't want to. I just want to sit in the moment that I sat in as I watched this. And I'm like, my first instinct would be, time to try CPR. No, this person isn't breathing.
I feel
Even if it wouldn't work, I feel like I feel like that's a go-to. No?
I feel like when I took a CPR certification class a couple of years ago, and I feel like we talked about this, like,
did you?
That you would administer CPR for an opioid overdose, but I actually just Googled it. I don't know. I feel like, first of all, yeah, you would do that. I mean, like, obviously today you might use, like, Narcan or something, but, like, in the 70s, yeah, I feel like you would maybe in the 70s, did people know how to, I feel like in any case you would, but this, okay, I'm now, like, so, this is, like, scrambling my brain. I'm like, in any case, yeah, you would do CPR if someone you knew was unable to breathe.
Okay, I just Googled, I literally just Googled, in the 70s, was CPR a thing? Which just, my parents listening to this were like, Caitlin, come on. But I just gotta make sure, okay? And it says, by the early 1970s, CPR, defibrillation. I'm really good. I'm smart. I have a degree, I promise. Not in CPR, though. And a rapid means to provide pre-hospital care were all in place. The structure to resuscitate sudden death victims had been built and was proving successful. So...
I guess that's my question isn't if it existed. My question is if an average person would know how to do it. Like,
know how to?
Yeah, like, because even today you need, like, sometimes you need training or certification, and, like, a lot of people don't know, or they just
didn't
know
have that episode of The Office to go by.
So I guess, like, part of me is like, well, at the very least, I feel like I would, if I were Billy, I'd be making a more conscientious effort one way or another to, like, keep her conscious and keep her alive. Like, I know he's, like, slapping her face, like, wake up! But, like,
Daisy, wake up! She's a breather. And meanwhile, Timothy Oliver's on the phone. It's just like, tell so-and-so that Rod has a toothache in room 607 or whatever it was.
So funny. It's not like
I know it's code, but it was just funny.
That's the thing is, like, I almost wish it had been taken more seriously. Like, obviously we're not taking it seriously right now, so we're being hypocritical, but, like, I wish it had been taken more seriously, like, in terms of, like, what what overdose actually looks like and what it can result in, and, like, I don't know. I felt like it made me feel a little icky.
Okay, so according to Google, providing rescue breathing or CPR can help to save a life and is the most important first step in treating an opioid overdose. And
yeah.
As someone who doesn't, if someone passed out in front of me right now and they had to have CPR, would I know the exact technique? Not necessarily, but at least like the kind of basics,
But wait, sorry, I'm sorry. Isn't cocaine would be a stimulant though? Isn't an opioid like a downer and cocaine is an upper?
Sure.
Like opioids are like fentanyl.
Yeah, that just showed up when I said overdose. I didn't like specify that it was cocaine or anything, and I genuinely don't know enough about drugs to tell you what's an upper and what's a downer. But I just feel like Billy could have done a little bit more, even if he's panicked. I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this now as a person who's not in a panicked state of seeing someone they care about not breathing, but still I would hope that in that moment I would try to do something instead of just hold them and yell at them to wake up.
Wake up! Yeah. I feel like that'd maybe be, I feel like that's step one is like, wake up! And then if that doesn't work, you administer step 2, which is like CPR or something.
And when you
like
realize
that,
oh shit, they're not waking up. In fact, they are not breathing. Time to attempt some CPR, whether you are trained or not, you know? Like, I mean, something's better than nothing, and at least you're trying. He literally just sat there and held her. I was just like, hey, wake up.
Yeah, it's like one of those scenes where like the person in the horror movie is like, let me go into that really dark, scary house over there. And you're just like screaming at them, like, don't do that. You know better. And they're like, no.
For the cemetery.
For the plot, I must.
Yeah.
You know?
For the dramatics of it. But I couldn't even like enjoy the dramatics of it because I'm just like, why aren't you trying to do anything about this?
What I will say is the good news is everything he didn't do worked because she woke up.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to take a nap right here. And then she's like, I'm good.
Very, very, and it like, it's, I don't want to speak lightly about Overdose because it's a very serious experience. Like, an addiction, it can be a very, very serious and difficult thing to go through, and like it takes a really long time to get over. And I think all of the resistance that Billy has toward Daisy because he's clean is valid.
Yeah, 100%.
But I also definitely, I feel like there are ways that the scene could have been executed where it would have been more, I feel like it would have been more palpable. Like it would have made more sense, you know?
Yeah, it took me out because they weren't doing it just to me, it was like, you're not doing anything to help her breathe again.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a main thing. Like I feel like that to me would have added to the panic of the whole situation of like, oh, you're trying to revive your friend, but instead you're just, I don't know. The entire time I'm like, this is terrible. Why are you not trying to help?
Yeah.
It was just weird to me.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
It feels like there's a lot of things in this show where it's like they kind of handle them haphazardly. Like, I don't know, like addiction is really, it's not that it's no laughing matter. It's not that the show's making fun of addiction, but I feel like they're kind of not being handled the most delicately, you know? Like, I would have liked to see maybe some, like, I'm not even like a content warning, but like something of the sort before this episode, just because it's going to be dealing with like a very serious thing. And I think like that's one of the things that like is done a lot in the 70s is like we're waving off addiction and waving off cocaine as being like something that everybody did, when in actuality it was like incredibly harmful and caused a loss of life and for in one way or another for a lot of people. So I kind of wish that it had been handled with a little more care, you know?
Like within the story itself, you're saying?
Yeah, and not even in the book, because I think the book didn't do a bad job with it, but in the show, I just felt like it was very, very rushed and also maybe not handled with the most sensitivity. And I just kind of wish there'd been more attention given to like how severely Daisy was being affected by her addiction. Like even when she's on, she's off. Like when she's out on stage and she's performing, it's like disturbing, but she still has the opportunity to get in all these jabs at Billy and kind of like be portrayed as like this really badass person, and when in reality she's like fully breaking down. And it was weird to me also that like, I don't know, this is Daisy's experience, and yet we're kind of getting it all from Billy's perspective still. And it's like, it's her story. It's her addiction. We didn't even get to hear from her much when she was being interviewed in this documentary piece of the episode. It was all kind of coming from Billy's point of view. I just kind of thought that was annoying. Like, but Mind Valley, just along those lines again, I feel like I go back and forth on this because I don't know how relevant this is, or like how, like, I guess how important to anybody else this was but me in the moment when I watched it. But I felt like, and this didn't happen in the book, this has been part why I question how essential it was. But for Nikki to accuse Simone of being in love with Daisy because Simone is queer, like, really kind of upset me. Like, and it didn't just upset me in terms of the plot, but it upset me, I feel like, in terms of the show's choice to make that a plot point in general.
Yeah. Because it could have been any other reason for him to get Daisy to not want Simone to be there.
Yeah. Like, because, I mean, and I don't want to, like, speak for lesbian women. So if anyone has a contradicting opinion, then tell me, because I'd love to hear if I'm, like, completely overstepping by saying this. But it feels I feel like part of me is like, okay, like, there are probably a lot of spaces. There are, in fact, definitely a lot of spaces in the 70s and now where lesbians are demonized and, like, made to look predatorial toward their friends, which is really sickening. But then I feel like to include that in the show, I just don't know if it furthered the plot at all. And it kind of took me out because I was like, oh, really? We're going to do this? We're going to do that classic trope where, like, oh, she's in love with you and that's why she's like this and she's bitter and she doesn't like you, and that's why, because, and it's just like, it's not true. We know it's not true. This is, like, clear from the show, but it still really made me feel kind of icky. And then for not just for Nikki to have accused Simone of this, but for Daisy to then say it made me very much dislike her character. Like,
because I feel like Daisy wouldn't have.
Yeah, like, up until this point, I was like, oh yeah, like, she's, like, cool, like, she's kind of messy, but she's, you know, doing her best. But then when she said that, I was like, ooh, you're kind of a gross person. Like, it really turned me off to her character, because it's like, you don't care for your friend enough to believe that your friend is your friend, and it's gross and homophobic to, like, imply that your friend who cares for you because they're in love with you and because they might be sexually attracted to you because they're queer. Like, all this woman has ever been is kind to you and loving to you, and you basically just threw her under the bus. And it made me, I was drunk when I watched this, but it made me unconventionally angry. Like, I was in the bathtub. I had the iPad up on the potty. I was like, hey, you leave Simone alone. Like, I almost jumped right into the screen. I was like, you stay in Italy, bitch. Like, and I don't fucking care.
You can almost argue, too, that it just shows how deeply that Nikki is manipulating Daisy in that moment. But why did it have to be, like, why did this whole, like, him saying that Simone's in love with Daisy have to be the reason?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have to be that. And now you're just kind of, like, showing that really annoying and gross narrative in this show. And it's just like, come on.
It's stinky. Like, lesbians don't need more media that portrays them as predatorial. Like, we don't need to keep doing this over and over again. And you could make an argument like, well, it's the 70s, so that's why it would happen. And it's like, okay, but this is 2023, so we don't have. It doesn't all have to be historically. Real. Yeah, it doesn't all have to be historically accurate. What if we were just, like, really cool and respected Simone's sexuality, and we're like, hey, actually, she's, like, cool as fuck, and so is Bernie, and they're cool and they're good friends, and, like, that's why we're having a fight right now, not because it doesn't have to be centered around Simone's sexuality, which had nothing to do with Daisy, and like, it just gets me, like, oh my god,
it did.
I'm still mad about it.
So, what song would you scream into the same mic as the person you hate the most, and why is it the 1997 performance of Silver Springs?
It's because it is. What's the question? When she says, "Time casts a spell on you, and you won't forget me." You won't
forget me.
You will never get away from the sound of the woman. Oh my god,
I'll follow you down.
That's like a spell. She casted a spell on Lindsey Buckingham when she said that. Like, it truly, like, it's unbeatable. It's crazy to me that it wasn't originally included on Rumors because it was so good.
I know.
I feel like what a treat to get it now, and also for it to become as relevant and, like, big of a song as it was. I'll tell you something. My dad showed me that song, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago, when it wasn't it hadn't become popular again on TikTok, and it wasn't super viral. And I remember thinking, holy shit, this is the best Fleetwood Mac song I've ever heard. I thought I've heard their whole discography. I thought I knew all of their hits. This is it. Like, game changer. Game changer. Yeah.
I love, like, showing people this performance specifically.
Yeah.
Especially to people, like, I showed it to my brother recently, and he knows nothing about
He
knows their songs, but, like, not enough to, like, be like, oh, this is Fleetwood Mac. He's just like, oh, I know this song, actually. So he doesn't know anything about it. I was like, Jason, I'm going to show you this video, and I'm going to give you the backstory to it, and I just need you to watch them. And he, who is someone who really, he doesn't normally, like, care too much about this stuff, or he wouldn't really be into this music. He was, like, on the edge of his seat watching it. He goes, look at them, look at the way they're looking at each other. She's pissed. Like, he was so into it, and he was freaking out over it. It was beautiful. I've never loved him more, but, like, it was, like, so great. And I love finding people who, like, haven't seen this performance yet, because I'm just like, look at how insane this is.
It's important for every girlie to have a playlist of YouTube videos that are like the YouTube videos you pull out at parties and, like, show to people to test whether or not you're going to be best friends with them forever. And that's, like, the top of the list. Like,
100%.
I still have the vision of sitting in my kitchen with my dad, like, holding my laptop and just, like, showing it to me. It's so funny because there's a meme going around, and it's like somebody showing somebody something on the TV, and usually people paste in that video, and that was literally him. It's like, it's so funny to me. Like, I don't know, and this is something else. Like, he does this. I don't know if he's, like, a trend forecaster or what, but he pulls things like this, like, that he loves, and those things that he loves become viral, like, a couple of years later. And I'm always just like, damn, you have great taste.
Your dad's just ahead of the game.
And he's never on social media, and it's so funny to me. Like, he definitely has great taste without even meaning to, and without being super into social media and, like, chronically online. So that's, like, I think that's cool. I admire that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else on that front?
No, there's no other song.
There isn't name a song. Okay, I will. That's the song. There are no other songs in the world. Yeah. Is there a character that you would fly all the way to Greece for?
Simone, because of everything that she's putting up with right now.
Yeah, real.
Everything.
Protect
her. She deserves it. Like,
oh my God.
She's going out, like, she's literally stopping her life for this person, and this person does something so cruel to her.
Yeah.
And I just think that Simone needs a break.
It's gonna hurt my feelings if Simone and Daisy make up, because I feel like Daisy doesn't deserve that. Like, I'm all about forgiving and forgetting, but in this case, I feel like if someone said to me what Daisy said to Simone, I would bitch slap them and I would never see them again.
Yeah.
Like, the two things. I would be like, do not come to my house. You are blocked on my phone. Do not ever speak to me again. Like, you're done. You're done. I don't care what toxic situation you're in now. I don't care. You're done. You know?
Yeah.
Self-preservation. But in the same vein, I said Bernie because she's so fucking cool and good to Simone, and I love her so much, and I have a huge crush on her, but also don't worry about that part. It's not important. It's not important to anybody.
Don't mind that.
Look away.
Pay no attention. It's the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, real. Yeah.
So what character would you smash a guitar over?
I'd say Billy, because I feel like, honestly, just Billy and Daisy in general are starting to, like, really piss me off at this point. And I know the whole focus of this show is their relationship and their feud, but I don't know. It's like when your divorced parents are fighting and you're like, can you guys just get your shit together? You're 42. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're a grown-ass... Billy is a grown-ass man with a beautiful wife and a child.
Yeah.
And he's writing stuff. He's telling the Rolling Stone journalist things like, talent like Daisy's is wasted on someone like Daisy. And Daisy full-on told the Rolling Stones his whole rehab story, which was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you both like this? Like, neither of you... It's gotten to the point where it's like they're both... I really liked at one point Daisy's kind of, like, cockiness, and I don't want to, like, shit on her for that, because I feel like there should be more cocky women in the world who know they're good at what they do. But I think that her behavior toward the people she loves is abominable.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just very hard to watch, to the point where it's like, I'm not, every time we come up for a new set of episodes, I'm like, what has she gotten herself into this time? Like, these two need to grow up.
Yeah.
Like, now. How about you?
I said Nikki. I feel like he's, for obvious reasons, because he was just annoying to me, even from the beginning, before you realize, like, how annoying he is, because there's something about telling people you're a student of life that just makes me like, blocked, first and foremost. Like, I don't know. He's just so pretentious, and obviously he is, but it was just like one of those things where it's like, okay, guy. You're just some dude.
Student of life. What the fuck?
So there's that. And then I also said Billy, because for all of the reasons that you said, but also because he has the audacity to look offended when Daisy was with another man, as if he himself isn't married to the most beautiful and wonderful woman already. Like, he's like basically like, oh, I can't believe Daisy would bring this guy in, and like looking offended that Daisy is going off and hugging and kissing this other guy, and I'm like, you have no right.
Literally, like, she's not your property.
Yeah, he just bothers me. I never shipped them in the book, but it got to the point a few episodes ago where I was like, their tension is palpable, like I can totally see why, but they're just like, I don't even think it's like right person, wrong time at this point. It's just that it's like that
wrong
line,
people, wrong life.
Yeah,
wrong everything.
But that line where I think it was actually Nikki who said something about like soulmates actually being a mirror, and I think Billy and Daisy really are mirrors for each other, but like not in the sense of like they should be together, but more in the sense is that they should look at each other and be like, wow, there's something wrong with you. Maybe we should take care of that, Yeah. But instead they're just kind of taking like they're seeing themselves in each other, and they're taking it out on each other. And everyone else around them are getting pulled down for it as well. And it's just like, I feel bad for everybody who's in their life.
Yeah, like whenever they start fighting and the band is just like around them, I feel such sympathy for the band. I'm like, y'all are just trying to live your lives and make music, and these two are just going at it like nutty little birds.
Like I, at that point, I'd be like, I don't even want to be in this band anymore. This is what it's gonna be like.
Yeah, the vibes are so very toxic workplace environment.
Yeah. I'm in a creative environment that is so toxic.
And it's funny because we've been talking in previous episodes where we've reviewed books about how sometimes a love triangle is not necessary in a book. And I feel like this is just another example of that. Like, I don't care about Nikki and Billy having like a little tussle. Yeah. Over Daisy. Yeah. And also I find it's like what's that meme that's like when the two worst people get together, it's like you're perfect for each other. Yeah, like that's kind of how I'm starting to feel, because I never cared for Billy, but then like Daisy's little bout of homophobia in the last episode kind of like took me out with her character, and now I'm just kind of sitting here like, we could have had it all. Yeah, and there's only 2 episodes left.
So I'm like trying to figure out like how are they gonna wrap all. I mean, like I know how it gets all wrapped up in the book, but now you have 2 episodes.
2 whole episodes, and I feel like there's so much that happens still.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes me wonder, and this is like a bad thought, but like I know this is supposed to be a mini-series. Are they gonna try to like end it on a cliffhanger so that they can
God, I hope
not. I really hope not. Like that. When I heard this was a miniseries, I was very happy before I even watched it, because I was like, perfect. Some things don't need to be 3+ seasons long. Like some stories don't take that long. But I think if they did something like that, I think this next episode is probably going to be the last one where we talk about Daisy Jones and the Six, no matter what happens.
Because I'm like remembering things that happened, but I just if they have to wrap it up where the book ends. at this point. Because then what would they do for a whole other season, you know? So I think they're going to, but I think it's going to be a lot packed into 2 episodes.
The 90s reunion tour. Where everyone looks the same for no reason.
Somehow they all look younger now.
I do have a feeling it's going to be something like that, though. Like, I have a feeling that at the end of episode 10, they'll do, like, something similar to the dance, where after this documentary airs, they'll have, like, a review moment, like a reunion moment where they all come back and sing together. In their really bad 90s aging makeup.
Here's my fear for the finale, and spoilers we're basically at the end of the episode, so except for our rating. But so if you haven't read the book and you don't know how this ends, this is your time to say bye. Thanks, guys. It was fun to hear you hate on these 2 episodes. See you next week, maybe. But here's my fear for the finale. I'm afraid, since in the book, obviously, Camila has passed away, and at the end of the book, and this is where I kind of felt a little at the end of the book even, she writes a letter to Billy, or maybe it was Julia. I think it was Julia, and she says, I don't know, but basically what she does is, like, she wants Billy and Daisy to perform together again. Yeah. Or, like, write a song or something. Yeah. And it to me, it could have been like, I want Billy and Daisy, not that Camila saying I want them to get together, but I always felt like that was like an opening for them to be like, all right, well, now we can do this, you know?
Yeah, like, and kind of a blessing.
Yeah. And I don't want the show to take that and be like, all right, well, Billy and Daisy are going to be together at the end. I don't want that to happen, because, like, I didn't want it in the book, and I definitely don't want it in the show. And I feel like the show has already taken, like, a few liberties. I'm just afraid that to appeal to an audience that wants Billy and Daisy to get together, which is fine, like, I totally get it, but at the same time, I don't want them to change the story just for the fact of this is what the audience wants, but even though it's not what happened.
I agree.
I just don't want that to happen.
I agree. And because that's what I like about the book's ending, is Camila's kind of saying, hey, you guys are older now. Like, maybe this will work out this time. Like, I'm dead. I'm dead. OMG, I'm dead.
OMG, I'm dead.
But I think it would look a little weird, I think, in the show. I guess that's my big fear too. I also feel like in general, I like that it's kept that simple. Like, if they had like a reunion song that they sing together or something like that, it just wouldn't be interesting to me. Like, I don't have the same sentimental interest in these 2 characters as I do in, like, people, like, as I did in the dance, you know? Again, I'm maybe being completely unfair by comparing to Fleetwood Mac, but, like, I think it would just kind of take away from things for me. So I'd be interested to see what they're going to do. But I think that would probably be another reason for me to be like, y'all. Bruh. Wow. So, Caitlin, where did these next couple of episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six fall on your tier list?
For me, they fell at mentally ill foreboding, because I feel terrible because I so badly wanted to love the series because I love the book so much, but, like, this entire time I've just been like, eh. And, like, especially for these 2 episodes, maybe it's just because it was, like, some of, like, the heavier, more conflicting stuff that happened in the book, but, like, watching it, I was just like, one, it is kind of on me where I'm like, this isn't the show I really want to be watching right now, and so it already didn't have my attention, like, my full attention span, but, like, the entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, I kind of don't care, and I kind of just want this to be over with. And again, I really feel like this series is just one where I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that happened, and I'm just never gonna think about it again. So yeah, that's where it falls for me. How about you?
I'm gonna give these the Riverdale core rating again, and my justification for this is, like, you put a bunch of unconventionally beautiful people in a very dramatic situation. And now we're here. And I feel like we're here. that kind of sums up the show for me so far. I think some of the things that have happened, like the thing that happened with Simone and then Daisy's overdose were big, like, what the fuck kind of, like, kind of cringe moments for me. Not cringe and like, that's cringe, but more like, ugh.
Like, gives you the ick.
Yeah, in the Riverdale respect, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to put those. But that said, I think this has been delightful. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I think I've enjoyed talking about these more than I have actually watching them.
I really do. Sometimes it is fun to be a hater.
And we thank you all for listening along with us. So that's going to do it for us. Mm-hmm. And we'd love for you to tune in when we review episodes 9 and 10 of Daisy Jones and the Six, and hence the finale of this miniseries.
Yay!
So come on back.